The 2014 Progress Seminar invited people from local business, government, and the community to take a weekend retreat and collaborate on regional issues. With several networking receptions, seminar speeches, and dedicated breakout sessions. They had keynote speeches from San Mateo County Board of Supervisor President Dave Pine with the State of the County address, San Francisco Business Times publisher Mary Huss on the state of Bay Area print media, futurist and economist Dr. Lowell Catlett on the new middle class, and CEO Marcy Harris of Popbox, which bridges the gap between the input the public wants to provide and the information members of Congress want and need to receive. The breakout session topics included: Is water more precious than gold? The Big Lift, the road less traveled, new transportation opportunities for the 21st century, communications and customers in a digital age, and a roundtable dialogue with your elected state officials, including Senator Jerry Hill of the California State Senate, 13th District, Assemblymember Rich Gordon of the California State Assembly, 24th District, and Assemblymember Kevin Mullen of the California State Assembly, 22nd District. For more videos from the Progress Seminar, go to www.pentv.tv/videos/specials/Progress Seminar.
We're here with Roseanne Faust, co-chair of the Progress Seminar. This is edition 2014. What a wonderful event. Tell us what this means to you and what it means to San Mateo County, Roseanne.
Well, I've been coming to the Progress Seminar for over 15 years, Mark, and for me, it's where we all gather, San Mateo County folks from all walks, business, community, elected officials, nonprofits, and we tackle tough issues, and we come up with solutions. And what we do here, we take back to San Mateo County, and we're about fixing things. We're about getting things done.
And that's a great answer, because we've talked to some other people about, having a meeting like this where there's a lot of networking, a lot of discussion, a lot of great ideas. So can you recall, I think you can, knowing you, a couple things that you took forward that have actually been solutioned this year that came out of last year's Progress Seminar?
Sure, absolutely. I remember hearing Tara Vanderveer, who is the Sanford women's basketball coach, and she was our keynote speaker at Saturday's lunch, and she talked about adaptability. She said, you never know what is going to happen, so you have to be ready to be flexible. And I use that every day, both in my elected official position as well as my business life. So that adaptability is key. I think what we took also from last year was transportation, and how can we better adjust our transportation infrastructure in the county. I mean, the EIR for Caltrain electrification is happening. We've moved things forward.
Good stuff. So lastly, and then we'll let you run because I know you're a very busy person, as an elected official, but also the CEO of SAMCETA, the Economic Development Organization, how does this event and what you do bring the government sector and the private sector together? Because it seems like the opportunities are abounding.
It's really easy. It brings both sides together, and it creates a greater awareness as to how government operates and how business operates. And frankly, if you can put two people sitting at the same table tackling an issue from two very different perspectives, you have a much better chance of solving the problem.
Absolutely excellent. Have a great time. Great work on this. We're all looking forward to it.
Thank you.
I'm with San Mateo County Supervisor Carol Groom at the 2014 Progress Seminar in Monterey. Carol, you've been associated with this event for such a long time. It is an incredible collaboration of people coming together to do the right things. Tell us what it's like in your words.
Oh, it's so energetic, and the ideas are just bubbling. I've said in a couple of the workshops, and people just have ideas and jotting them down, and hopefully we'll be able to implement even some of them. So there's just so much energy here.
It really is, and it's serious, but it's fun. And I guess the thing that strikes me is the magnitude of some of these issues: childhood education, water, communication, transportation, housing, big mega issues that impact all of us and that you at a county level have to deal with. How do you do it?
Well, you listen to people and you listen to their ideas and you try to implement them. And we've just been so fortunate at the county because the taxpayers passed a sales tax measure for us, and so we have an extra $60 million a year to put into some of these ideas and make changes and hopefully make improvements.
And you're doing a good job of that. And just real briefly, for us average citizens like me, what's kind of the process that you all go through to evaluate all the needs, even to apply it to a very large dollar amount like that?
Well, what we did at the county is we had, for over a year, we had a series of workshops. We had the community speaking. We had government members speaking, not-for-profit. We also had experts coming in. And so we learned from that about what the priorities were, and from the experts, really good ideas of how to spend our money.
Well, thanks for being such a great supporter of this and doing such a great job. We'd love to have you. Thanks, Carol.
For more videos from the Progress Seminar, go to www.pentv.tv/videos/specials/Progress Seminar.
We're so proud of this Progress Seminar, an event that is certainly unique to the county and which other counties everywhere would like to emulate. The Progress Seminar has certainly grown and would not be possible without the generous support of our sponsors who are sitting with me at the head of the table this morning. We want to thank all of our sponsors, and we would like to recognize the value of what a weekend like this can accomplish. We appreciate their support. So I'd like to introduce our sponsors and this head table. To my right, Paul Shepard, Land Manager, Cargill, Salt, Premier Event Sponsor. President and CEO of the San Mateo Credit Union, Premier Sponsor, Barry Jolette. Carla Lomax, Local Government Relations Manager, Pacific Gas and Electric, Premier Seminar Sponsor. Thank you. Frank Byrne, Senior Vice President, Area Manager, Kaiser Permanente, Opening General Session Sponsor. Thank you. With us again this year, greatly appreciate Mary Huss, Publisher, San Francisco Business Times, Seminar Media Sponsor. Roseanne Faust, Seminar Co-Chair. Thank you, Roseanne. Vice Mayor, City of Redwood City, President, CEO, SamSEDA. At this time, I just got to stop right here just for a moment. Barbara Bigelow, where are you, Barbara? Barbara? She here? She's out there? That's okay. Barbara is so wonderful. I mean, she lays everything out for you. Time, where to be, all that. She's actually, got all the people listed. She's included the podium. So I'd like to introduce the podium to everybody. Right here. One of our major sponsors. Thank you, the podium. To my left, Carol Groom, Seminar Co-Chair, Vice President, San Mateo County Board of Supervisors. Thank you, Carol. David Pine, President, San Mateo County Board of Supervisors. Thanks, David. And she actually has me listed as well. I'm sitting right there. Gino Gasparini. Lenny Gutierrez, Director, Government Affairs, South Bay Peninsula, Comcast, Seminar. Tom Worth, Facilities Manager, Premier Sponsor of Facebook. And Kiwoba Alari, founder and Rocket Fuel Gives Back program, Rocket Fuel Premier Seminar Sponsor. Thank you, Kiwoba. Thank you very much. So with that, are there any questions? No? Well, I'm going to hand it over to Carol Groom. So Carol, take it away from here. Thank you.
But a big hand for Gino, the chairman of the board of the Redwood City Chamber of Commerce. Well, we got a lot of first-time people here, and that's always makes us very happy. And so I'm going to take some time to introduce all of the people who are here at our Progress Seminar for the first time. Would you stand or wave or do something like that? Greg Collier. Good. Callie Murphy. Okay. Sue Vaccaro. Ron Adachi. Mario Arvalo. Slept in, huh? Bruce Bean. Sweta Bhaktagnar. There you go. Edessa Bitbadal. Amanda Borsum. David Bouchard. Craig Brewer. Michael Callaghy. Courtney Conlon. Adrian Covert. Michael Cunningham. William Curry. Matt Kerwood. Jim Savangros. Hope I didn't mix that up too much, sir. Hilda Delgado. Casey Fromson. J.R. Gomez. Oscar Garcia. Jonathan Gervais. Cynthia Greaves. Mark Hansen. Cecily Harris. Marcy Harris. Jeanette Haskell. Larry Hassett. Ariane Hogan. Ruben Holliber. Yeah. Rodney Hughes. Cameron Johnson. Richard Koenig. David Kuzenga. Wayne Lee. Eric Lochtefeld. And Lori Lochtefeld. Carla Lomax. Susan Mannheimer. Holly McFarland. Jeannie McLaughlin, over there. Marianne Neihart. Mark Olbert. Marianne Osberg. Tim Palmer. Linda Parenti. Juan Ragosa. Devin Richardson. Jill Rodby. Nicole Stankula. Scott Schweitzberg. Dr. Regina Standback-Stroud. Jessica Stone. Microphone's dead. Okay. All right. Nicole Sankula, Scott Schweitzberg, Dr. Regina Stanbook-Stroud, Jessica Stone, Lauren Sweezy, Lori Tinfow, Rick Vaccaro, Diane Vivani, Paul Willard, Diane Wilson, Tom Worth, Dennis Sill, Chelsea Bonini, Mark Riley, and Janet Luna. Thank you all for being here for the first time. Now we have a mayor's table sitting right here in the center of the room. Thank you all. Jeff G. from Redwood City. Charlie Brzezinski from Foster City. Mark Olbert from San Carlos. Michael Brownrigg from Burlingame. David Canepa from Daly City. Ray Mueller from Menlo Park. Robert Ross from San Mateo. Marianne Neihart from Pacifica. Helen Fisacara from Colma. Yeah. And Wayne Lee from the city of Millbrae. And I also want to welcome all of the Chamber of Commerce execs from every city that has a chamber. They're all with us here today, and they're our co-sponsors, so thank you for joining us. So now, to the meat and potatoes. I'm really honored this morning to introduce, not that he needs an introduction, Dave Pine, the president of the San Mateo County Board of Supervisors. He was elected in a special election in 2011. He represents District 1, which includes Burlingame, Hillsborough, Millbrae, San Bruno, and portions of South San Francisco, the unincorporated communities of San Mateo Highlands, Baywood Park, Burlingame Hills, and the San Francisco Airport. Dave serves on numerous county and regional boards, including the San Francisco Bay Conservation and Development Commission, BCDC, the San Francisco Bay Restoration Authority, the Association of Bay Area Governments, San Mateo County First Five Commission, and the Health Plan of San Mateo. He was previously a school board member for the Burlingame School District and the San Mateo Union High School District. He's past president of the San Mateo County School Boards Association. He was also an education policy advisor to Steve Wesley during his 2006 California gubernatorial campaign. Dave's also active in a number of civic and nonprofit organizations, including the Committee for Green Foothills, Community Gate Path, San Mateo County Transportation Citizens Advisory Committee, and the San Mateo County Blue Ribbon Autism Task Force. Before focusing on his career in public service, he worked as an attorney representing startup and high-growth technology companies. After working in private practice with Fenwick and West, he served as vice president and general counsel for Radius, Excite at Home, and Handspring. Originally from New Hampshire, he's a graduate of Dartmouth College, the University of Michigan Law School, lives in Burlingame with Jane and his two great sons. Please welcome my colleague and my good friend, Dave Pine.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's my privilege to deliver this year's State of the County address. So let me start by saying that Monterey County is a really nice place. You know, the coastline, including Big Sur, 17-mile drive, can't be beat. I highly recommend it. In fact, this place is so nice, we come here, of course, every year to hear about and talk about San Mateo County. So how is San Mateo County doing? You know, I'm happy to report that things are going very, very well, and that for the most part, the recession is now in the rear-view mirror. One good indicator of that is the performance of one of the biggest economic anchors of our local economy, which happens to be in my district, and that is the San Francisco International Airport. Last year, SFO welcomed a record 45 million passengers. And the prospects for continued growth for the airport are very bright. SFO recently announced a 10-year, $4 billion capital improvement plan. And this plan, by the way, will include a nice 400-room high-end hotel, which will be built on a piece of unincorporated San Mateo County land. So one might wonder, well, where are all these travelers going? You know, are they going to the Burlingame Pez Museum? Are they going to see the beautiful new Devil's Slide Trail, which they might be, judging on the 92 traffic? Or they could be going to the Pulgas Water Temple, in which case they better hurry because the water is running out. So these travelers may visit some of these sites, but more likely they're visiting the booming businesses in San Mateo County. They may be visiting Genentech in South City, Gilead in Foster City. They might be visiting Oracle or Electronic Arts in Redwood City, or going to Facebook in Menlo Park or Solar City in San Mateo. But they also may be coming to do business with any one of hundreds and hundreds of less famous companies and startups that now call San Mateo County home. You know, San Mateo County is now, without any doubt, clearly part of the fabled and world-famous Silicon Valley. And just a couple statistics. 16 of the top 50 fastest growing private companies headquartered in the Bay Area are located here in our county. 16 of the 25 largest software companies in the Bay Area are headquartered in San Mateo County. And a good example of what's happening in the way this local economy is becoming more and more dominated by these new industries was on display at Roseanne Faust's recent SamSita Innovation Awards. So there we honored the following companies. These are all San Mateo County companies: Evernote, GoPro, Reputation.com, Stella and Dot, Tech Shop, and Cyclone Pharmaceuticals. And the city of San Mateo now hosts Draper University, which is a very unique enterprise, which is totally dedicated to training young entrepreneurial talent. And while it's only been around for less than 10 years, it's already spun out 100 companies, or at least 100 ideas. So, these companies and their employees and the technologies they develop, are fundamentally changing the landscape of our county in a number of ways, which I'd like to speak to. So first, let's start with how they, impact the county government itself. And one thing for sure, it means a lot of tax revenue and a lot of opportunity to do good things with that revenue. So on the revenue side, the assessed property value in the county is now $156 billion. That's a 6% increase, or almost $9 billion increase compared to the prior year. And in fact, the growth in the property tax roll was the fourth largest in history last year. So what this increase in value means, of course, is property tax revenue. The new increase has yielded $88 million in property tax countywide, which is shared by all the local agencies. Unfortunately, the county gets a big chunk of that. And we also are fortunate that we have a couple of new sources of revenue to complement this. One is Measure T, which is a 2.5% tax on the auto rental business, primarily located in SFO. That's generating about $13 million a year. And then in November 2012, as you all recall, the voters kindly approved Measure A, a half-cent sales tax, to fund county services only, and that generates in the neighborhood of $70 million a year. So there's a lot of money coming our way. So what are we doing with all this loot? I mean, it's a lot of money. So here are some of the highlights. First, because our financial position is so strong, we're really able now to make some investments in prevention and early intervention that I think will better serve our residents and save taxpayer dollars in the long run. So for example, under the leadership of my colleague, Supervisor Carol Groom, the county has initiated the Big Lift program, which I hope you've all heard of. You'll learn more about it in this progress seminar. So the goal there is to increase the number of third graders that read at grade level when they're in the third grade. So third grade reading is a really critical metric for kids, because it's said that until you reach third grade, you're learning to read, and after third grade, you read to learn. So the Big Lift has many components. The most ambitious is to offer more preschool opportunity for 3- and 4-year-olds. And again, there's a breakout session on that today. The county is also committed to increase services for youth at risk of mental illness and substance abuse. And again, the thought here is if we can intervene early, we can keep these kids away from failing in school, from broken families, from involvement in the criminal justice system. Another area that I'm very pleased with is we're paying down our pension obligations. The Board of Supervisors has decided to make a $15 million contribution above our normal pension obligations this year, and then $10 million per year for the following 9 years, so $140 million against our pension obligations. And I think this strategy, combined with the fact that our pension plan has only a 15-year amortization period, it's really created a pathway for San Mateo County to fully fund its pension, and I don't think many governments can say that. We're also investing in partnerships. We contributed $10 million over 2 years to support Samtrans paratransit, and this funding will also facilitate Samtrans in its ability to fund Caltrain. We're contributing $11.5 million to support the Seton Medical Center in Daly City and Seton Coastside. Seton is a fundamentally critical partner for the county and the health plan of San Mateo to serve our low-income residents in the North County. But there's been big developments on that front, in that the Daughters of Charity that operates these systems has recently announced they're going to sell them. So what happens with our strategy in the North County is unknown at this point. We'll see how the sale takes shape. Next, I'd just like to highlight parks and point out the good work of my colleague Supervisor Horsley, who's fortunate to have most of the parks in his district. He always reminds us of how great the 3rd District is. He doesn't have an international airport, though. In our most recent budget, we did set aside monies for park capital improvements and increase the park's operating budget so that we could, for among other things, fund the operation of the fantastic Devil Slide Park and we hired a resource manager, which was long overdue. And then finally, one further example is we're making some very meaningful investments in the North Fair Oaks neighborhood. Among other things, we set aside about $3.5 million to begin implementing a specific plan in that part of the county. And here, I really want to call out my colleague, Supervisor Warren Slocum. He has done just an incredible job bringing focus to North Fair Oaks. And under his leadership, you're going to see a lot happen in North Fair Oaks in the years ahead. So we are really fortunate to have these financial resources at our disposal. But I do want to point out we still don't have enough money to pay Supervisor Horsley or Supervisor Slocum. They both volunteered to work for the county for free. But you should know that we're in contract negotiations with representatives from the International Brotherhood of County Supervisors, Local 650. And it's really irritating because they're always picketing outside my door. These guys deserve to be paid, by the way. So this booming technology sector, has unquestionably helped the county's coffers. But in addition, it's really fascinating to see that some of the technologies that are being developed here in our own backyard are, they're really starting to creep into government and how we do business and changing how we do business as a government entity. For example, this year the county launched what we call the Open Data Platform. It allows residents to see and use all kinds of data sets that detail, how the county functions. Of particular note is Open Checkbook, which is a free database, so you can go in and see all the checks that the county departments have issued, and there's a lot of checks in there. Local residents can also search a database for unclaimed assets, so I'll urge you to do that. I bet a good number of you are owed some money. Go up to the Open Data site. Another example of leveraging technology pertains to our new performance tracking website. This tool allows the public to monitor our progress against various metrics, particularly with respect to Measure A. Again, Measure A is such a unique opportunity, and we really want people to see exactly what we're doing with the money and what progress we're making. The county has done a couple other things with technology. We've implemented an electronic vehicle reservation system with GPS tracking to maximize the use of these vehicles. And this is kind of cool. Recently, we had Code for America volunteers come in, and they worked with the county to develop smartphone apps to simplify the process for residents to access CalFresh food stamps. So in addition to giving us some new tools, there are these new companies are presenting some really interesting new business models too, which are creating some interesting regulatory challenges for local government. For example, the emerging sharing economy is really just this fundamental paradigm shift. The peer-to-peer car rental enterprises such as FlightCar and Ride Relay, as well as home sharing services like Couchsurfer and Airbnb are, they're really upending traditional business models and forcing us to think a little bit differently about regulation. I recently, just at the end of this week, had a chance to go see Airbnb, and it's booming, and they have rentals throughout the county. In an unincorporated county, it turns out that, with the exception of the coast side, you're actually technically breaking the law when you have an Airbnb offering at your home. So it's just kind of one small example of how these technologies are going to force us to think about how we regulate or change our regulations. So who's liable for safety and insurance, and who's taxed, and who pays for the taxes. So these are all questions which we'll need to sort out. So, a booming San Mateo County leads all these good things, which I've tried to give you a taste for. But, it also in itself creates a demanding set of challenges. And foremost among those challenges, as everybody knows, is housing. I moved out here in '85, and I thought it was so expensive. And I wish I'd bought every house in the neighborhood. But now, these housing costs have just gone through the roof. In 2013, average sales price for a single-family home, $1.2 million. Average one-bedroom apartment rent, $2,100 a month. So kind of coming up with affordable housing has become very difficult because we've lost the redevelopment agencies and we've really depleted a lot of the state housing bond money. And one thing the county did was we did allocate about $13 million in funds that came back to us when these redevelopment agencies were dissolved and put those against this issue. But that's obviously just a small step. And then the other thing about all this great success is that it just puts this huge strain on our transportation network. I mean, everyone knows that, driving on the highway. I can never figure out when the highway will be free. I don't think it's ever free. And then Caltrain is just packed. And Caltrain's average weekly ridership has climbed to almost 53,000 passengers a day. It's amazing, 12% increase from last year. And you know, I recognize my colleague Supervisor Tissier, who's a Bay Area leader on transportation issues, and she and many others are advocating and working hard to electrify Caltrain, which, if all goes well, by 2019 will mean more riders and more revenue. But you know, there may be another solution to all this transportation. I've been thinking really hard about this. You know, if we all work for Google, we could all take the bus. I mean, they need a lot of employees, so keep that in mind. So, you know, also, you know, unfortunately, you know, the new economy doesn't lift all boats. You know, the median income in San Mateo County is $88,000 a year, right? That's a lot. It's really one of the highest in the country. But the problem is that the required sustainable income, which is the income needed to adequately pay for housing, food, transportation, and childcare for a household of 2 adults and 2 kids, well, that's $85,000. So, you know, our median income is $88,000. Sustainable income is $85,000. Basically means it's really hard to move here. I mean, if you've been here, you have housing, it's one thing. But if you're trying to start here, if you're making the median income, you're just making it. In fact, federal statistics say there's only 6.5% of our populace in the county living in poverty, or 50,000 people. But Stanford has done this study, some of you may have seen, where they take housing into account. And under their study, they assert that 136,000 of our residents are essentially, you know, living close to poverty. So with all this discretionary income, you know, with so much people's income going to keeping a roof over their heads, you know, many people, you know, need the county. 78,000 people in our county use the public health system. That's more than 1 out of 10 of our residents. You know, 1 out of 3 of the kids in our public school, 1 out of 3, you know, live in families where their income qualifies them for free and reduced lunch. So, you know, people often ask me about, well, what the heck does the county do? Because no one really knows. And I tell them that the fundamental mission of the county government is to provide services to residents in need, to provide the social safety network. And I think, and I believe that we do a better job at that than any other county in the state. You know, I'm particularly proud of our success in implementing the Affordable Care Act. As of March 31, a total of 32,000 San Mateo County residents have enrolled in ACA health coverage. This consists of about 18,000 folks who signed up under Covered California and 14,000 who are eligible for the expanded Medicare. So, you know, these tremendous opportunities and challenges that are inherent in the new economy are front and center for us. But there's another game changer I'll just touch on very briefly and then wrap up. And that's the question of sea level rise. Take a little bit of a corner here. Sea level rise is one of the most serious consequences of climate change, and it will have a profound effect on San Mateo County because we have more people and property exposed to sea level rise than any other county in the state. You know, there are some studies projecting 55 inches of sea level rise by the end of the century, which would mean Foster City, Redwood Shores, SFO, 101, you know, underwater. Sea level rise has been described as a slow-moving emergency. So, you know, now is the time to begin to plan for it. You know, recently my office partnered with SFO to secure a Coastal Conservancy grant to look at the shoreline just north of the airport, where Colma Creek and San Bruno Creek enter the bay. So we'll be doing some vulnerability studies and looking at an adaptation plan. And in last December, Assemblymember Gordon and Congressman Spear and I held a conference on this issue, got a dialogue going. It was really great attendance, about 400 folks. And now we have to take the next step of bringing these stakeholders together to begin to discuss options. This is a long time horizon, but needs our focus. So, despite all these challenges, there's no question in my mind that our future is bright. We're very blessed to live in this area with the great beauty of the county, a business climate second to none. And we attract open-minded and creative people from all over the world. And everyone in this room is, dedicated themselves in one way or another to tackling the problems that we face and making the county a better place to live and work. So I feel very fortunate to live in the county. I feel very fortunate to be on the Board of Supervisors. And I'm so pleased to have the opportunity to work with all you in this room as we chart our future going forward. So thank you. Enjoy the seminar.
Good morning. How is everyone? Let's everyone, when there's one of those awkward pauses again where I'm trying to find the space, pull out your cell phone, make sure it's on vibrate, but start taking selfies because we're going to post them. Okay? We really want to beat the Oscars on this one. I'd really like to bring down Twitter today. And actually, we might be able to help Facebook, so have at it. Just a thought. Yes. Okay, so I want to tell you a little bit about Comcast, who is our overall sponsor for this Progress Seminar. Comcast's partnership with the Progress Seminar in San Mateo County is really a model of good corporate citizenship, an example of the importance of a positive relationship between business, government, and community stakeholders. Joining us this year are the fellow members of Comcast's team. So I would really appreciate if everyone today at this seminar, if you thanked all of our sponsors, you thank Comcast, you thank our sponsors, Sutter Health and Mills Peninsula, who is bringing our luncheon speaker today, Dr. Lowell Catlett. Please be nice to him. He's standing in the back of the room. I told him that there are some of you that he should be careful of, so just keep that in mind. So from Comcast's team, we have Sue Vaccaro, Senior Director of Government Affairs, Lenny Gutierrez, Director of Government Affairs for the Southern Peninsula and South Bay, Callie Murphy, Manager of Enterprise Sales, Greg Collier, Manager of Enterprise Sales. Comcast is the largest provider of broadband in the nation. Who has Comcast in the room? Everyone raise your hand. Yes, I mean everyone. Comcast is more than just a cable company. They are a media, technology, and an entertainment company that has long provided unparalleled services under the Xfinity brand for products in your homes and businesses. Since 1996, Comcast has invested $6.9 billion in infrastructure in California alone. And internet speeds can reach up to 10 gigabytes. Don't you think they deserve a clap for that? The Comcast Ventures branch of Comcast helps provide seed funding for innovators and entrepreneurs and the Silicon Valley Innovation Center, where apps and products are being developed and worked on every day. With over 10,000 Comcast employees in California and over 20,000 when you include NBC counterparts, Comcast provides entertainment for your families. In 2013, Comcast invested, okay folks, I really want to see some applause for this, $39 million in local communities. $39 million. Funding and employee support at local schools through Comcast Care Days. That's in East Palo Alto this year on April 26. Chambers of Commerce revenue brought through the Chamber Affinity Program. SamCEDA Innovator Awards, cultural festivals, and providing affordable internet to low-income families. Since July, thank you, Dennis. We forget sometimes that there are a lot of folks not sitting in this room. And for Comcast to provide those kind of services to low-income families, we should all be appreciative and grateful. The Internet Essentials program offers internet services at the low price of $9.95 for students on free and reduced lunch, a netbook for $149, and digital training. In just 2.5 years, Comcast has connected more than 1.2 million Americans, or 300,000 low-income families, 15,000 of which are in California. Please remember this, because you can go out and tell folks in your jurisdictions and your constituents that this is what Comcast does. They just announced in March that they will continue to enroll families in this program indefinitely. So on behalf of the Redwood City, San Mateo County Chamber of Commerce, in behalf of everyone sitting in this room today, we salute Comcast. Now what I'd like to do is bring up Frank Byrne with Kaiser Permanente, who's going to talk about where we collectively will all be tomorrow morning very early. Frank?
I'll let that just hang out there as a teaser, but good morning. Once again, it's Kaiser Permanente's privilege to be a sponsor of this Progress Seminar and joining all you for a great weekend. At each of your place settings, you'll find a $1 gold coin. That is yours to keep, should you choose. However, as is the tradition, we hope, we would like you to join us collectively in donating that $1 coin back to the Second Harvest Food Bank by providing it, and the group follows instructions and remembers well, in the manila envelope at your table. For every $1 coin that you provide, Kaiser Permanente will match that. Last year, we collectively donated more than $1,000 to this very worthwhile community service. So for your support last year, this year, and going forward, we thank you. Now to the important event that we want to also tell you about. Kaiser Permanente will once again be sponsoring its annual Thrive Walk tomorrow morning, down and back to the beach. It will be a walk, a run, potentially for some of you, perhaps a crawl. But we will join in the lobby promptly at 7 a.m. sharp. It promises to be a great day, a great start to your Sunday. We also will promise to have you back, ready to go, back from the beach in plenty of time for a 9 a.m. start and another program start here again tomorrow. So we hope you'll join us. We're glad to see all of you, and hope you'll be there tomorrow morning at 7 and thrive with us. Thank you.
So what I'd like to do now, and by the way, because and Gino was very smart on this. Saturday morning, always, it's your first morning of the weekend. It always takes folks a little bit to kind of get with it and everything. Dave Pine was wonderful. Is he not an entertainer? Did people know that? Everything is pushed back 10 minutes. So the sessions will start at 8:55 this morning. So I don't want anyone leaving because we have things to talk about. So now I'm going to introduce our second speaker for this morning, and Mary Huss is the publisher of the San Mateo Business Times. Mary has been publisher of SFBT, as I like to refer to it, since 1991, and her career with regional business journals spans over 25 years. How many of you have subscriptions to the San Francisco Business Times? Again, folks, can we have all the hands up, please? I need your help here. If you don't, they have a new iPad app, and an app for any other type of smart device that you have so you can get it digitally. It's one of the 40 regional newspapers published by the American City Business Journals, and the San Francisco Business Times reaches more than 87,000 readers in the Bay Area. Mary began her career with the St. Louis Business Journal. She moved to the Philadelphia Business Journal, and then she came to her favorite place, San Francisco. Earlier in her career, she was a writer for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, and before that was the founding editor of a successful weekly alternative paper in St. Louis, the Riverfront Times. Mary has a Bachelor's of Journalism degree from the University of Missouri-Columbia. Mary is extremely active in many nonprofit boards, sits on the Bay Area Council Executive Committee, the San Francisco State Foundation, and Golden Gate University. Let's welcome Mary Huss.
Thank you, Roseanne. Actually, I was kind of excited because I thought, oh, good, I only have 10 minutes. So, and you gave me the extra time. So, really nice of you to ask me to give me a little time today. And I was asked to talk about the state of print media in the Bay Area. And I thought, gosh, I'm so glad to see that Facebook and Rocket Fuel are supporters and active participants, and certainly in different ways they're all part of the very disruptive world that is, and innovative world that is media today. And so print sometimes has that, well, actually you can't just be print today, and it would be kind of an impossible thing, but print has that kind of cloud in people's, is it going to survive? Is it dead? But I actually learned this morning, I was from the hotel desk guy when I went in to get him to print out my speech this morning. He said, oh, it said state of print media was the label. And he goes, oh, print media. Yeah, he goes, everybody wants the print newspapers. Our guests do all the time. So I'm like, real? I'm going to use that. And he said, well, that's the old ones. The old people love it. And and he said they like to look at the bridge scores because the young people, the youngest, they don't want their print newspapers. So my little glimmer there didn't quite work out. But that's the truth for the most part, and it's a reality that media operations have to deal with. It's not entirely the truth. And in fact, many of us who are in that traditional media world as our roots of print, as we are actively becoming multimedia companies and building out our digital platforms, some of us are still betting that some form of print will survive, and we're actually investing in that. Certainly in the magazine world, but if you're going to have print survive in any way, you really actually have to think very carefully about what you do and how you invest in it. And I brought my tablet up here simply because I'm going to look at the time on it once in a while. I don't even have a watch anymore, but I have my I think for us anyway, we look at it as the tablet, the iPad and that sort of thing, as being a really perfect mirror and complement to print. And it sort of became a game changer. So while you may not have, like our print subscriptions right now still are very, very strong and actually grow, the people who are willing to pay for the content, but in truth, some of that gets diminished by people who choose to only take it, say, in digital form. Not a huge percentage yet. A lot of people take it in both forms. So, and that's true, in varying degrees to a lot of what was formerly traditional print media. So anyway, I want to make sure, I wasn't quite sure what you wanted in terms of hearing about what the state of the print media is, but I did think, this is such a community here, and there are a lot, what I've always loved about the peninsula is there's so many wonderful villages that make up the whole village, and that's kind of true of the Bay Area as a whole, so many wonderful towns. And our community newspapers, our community, sort of connectors in a way have been so important in so many ways. And, more recently, things like Patch came along, and I'm sure a lot of you, those become very important to our communities. Now, Patch has had its problems, and it's in fact we're all searching for what are the models that are going to survive, right? And there's all kinds of models being tried and invented, and some are getting some traction and some are, rising and falling. So, but, this whole ability to connect with a community and provide a local community with news and information is still a very important thing. In fact, more important than ever if you're covering media, looking at media trends. The whole concept of local and local content is a very strong one. So anyway, I'll just tell you, it's actually kind of timely that we're having this. I want to talk about the conversation broader than the San Francisco Business Times. And by the way, those of you who don't read the San Francisco Business Times, I'm assuming you read the Silicon Valley Business Journal, which is our sister or brother or whatever we would call it. But it's timely because our larger organization, American City Business Journals, which is actually owned by a larger media organization called Advance, is very much investing in and putting many, many resources into change and transformation in our newsrooms and our overall operations. And for us, one component of it will be playing out next week with next Friday's print edition. As I said, we're going to roll out what we call a relaunch, and it's a redesign of the print edition, but it's all part of a much larger strategy and philosophy of how we operate our newsrooms, and it's very much based on the digital side of the operation, what we're putting out daily and hourly, and all the content we're putting there is the forefront of what we do now. And we think about how our news, and what I'm saying about us is not so different with what many of the other print media organizations are undertaking. Some of them are just much larger entities and different types of entities. But so our newsroom has had to, over the years, we aren't just getting into digital now, but we're full throttle, and we've invested a lot of money into how we've transformed our newsrooms and news operations, and it's a redefinition of operations. But anyway, a piece of that is the print redesign, and we think about how our media is delivered across multiple platforms. And sort of when you look at the print platform, you'll see in our redesign of our print that it very much mirrors what you might see in a tablet. It has to flow so that it partners well with a tablet. When we look at the print side of it, we think of that as where the tablet, you're more likely to spend a little bit more time with it. You're more likely to want a little more meaning and relevance and significance to that. And you want something really worth investing both your time and money in, and that becomes our premium content. But you would see with the Silicon Valley Business Journal, San Francisco Business Times, any of our operations, we're probably putting out 4 or 5 times as much news and content online than you ever see in print. And much of that is free. There's no question about it. And many of you may get our daily e-newsletters that come out in the morning and the afternoon. And so Roseanne gave a number that it's a readership number of print. We actually print and distribute about 17,000 copies of our weekly edition. Translates through some research into a pass along and media number that we get. But in digital, and this is a number that's ever growing, like the newsletters we send are growing, 22,000, 23,000, they just keep growing for these free newsletters. And then the web audience that comes to us just for San Francisco gets to about 1.5 million page views, about 500,000 unique people. So you just start to see that our operations are all about engaging a much broader audience. So I say that about what we're doing because the print media in general is struggling with how to rapidly become, all of us, digital-first operations, how to financially structure the model, how to monetize this, because I can assure you that still the largest percentage of our revenues come from print. You know, you can build out page views and you can build out all the kinds of things that happen on your digital assets, and the dollars come in much smaller increments. So what you're seeing happen with the big news operations, you know, the mighty Mercury News, which is, you know, rumored to be maybe on the block soon. But the ones, you know, and, you know, their parent organizations have gone through multiple sales, and you've seen, and multiple, in various cases across the country, you know, you've got bankruptcies, you've got sales, you've got all kinds of things as the larger daily news operations have had to shed their massive cost structures and figure out their path. And it's, you know, and they've also shed a lot of their newsrooms and their news staff. And, you know, if you consider that a news organization, what are we if we're not content? You know, quality content. So I think when you're seeing a lot of these operations, and sometimes you're, you know, as you're trying to work with the media, dealing with these diminished newsrooms and smaller reporting staffs and a lot of churn and that sort of thing, and that becomes difficult, I think, to deal with. But anyway, so I kind of got off here, but the thing that I really basically said that in the media business, and certainly in the print media business, we are just, and let me check my time here too. You're gonna, 3 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna rapid fire here through. Okay, well, we're just in a state of reinvention and sort of transformation, and everything's very fragmented now, all right? So if you are an advertising consumer, you know, our people at Rocket Fuel can tell you, there's so, my gosh, you know, there's so many different ways you can buy advertising, and it is so fragmented. And in this region, imagine trying to hire somebody who sells advertising. Everything is advertising now. I mean, in fact, I think our economy is kind of built on it if you stop and think about it, with Google and Facebook and Twitter and all that sort of thing. So it becomes very complex. Everything is measured these days. And by the way, in our newsrooms, we measure everything. We can measure if our beats are really, we think our beats are so fabulous, but if the measure, you know, the indicators say nobody's really reading your stuff, all of a sudden you have the ability to change your business a little bit. So our real, I guess what I'll say in my 3 minutes, because I had all this stuff written out for you. But, you know, at the core, I am a big believer that the traditional media, if it does it properly, is and will reinvent itself. Not all of it. Some of it's going to die. Some of it has died. But we're going to reinvent ourselves. We're in the process of reinventing ourselves. It's one of the most exciting times to be actually in journalism. We're doing things a lot differently. My thought is, at the premise, if we continue to invest in quality journalists and in keeping our newsroom strong, if we change those journalists or hire the new ones who understand that it all starts with the audience, that we don't do it from inside our four walls, we don't do it from inside those big brick buildings that we know best. We do it because we engage and listen to our audiences. So it all comes from audience. At understanding how to engage with that audience. We have so many more tools to do that with social media and all of the technology things. And we're going to do a lot of other things. Everyone's a journalist, everyone's a publisher. A guy in their pajamas can start, you know, a media enterprise that can be quite competitive with us. One of our premises in our relaunch, and we're already doing a lot of the things, is we brand our reporters. Put them front and center. We do everything. We get them very actively engaged in social media. That brand that they become can walk right out the door and start something competitive, or in the case of one of my favorite brands, get actively recruited away, as he just did, and then you know, that brand goes elsewhere. So we have to invest more than ever in our newsroom talent. Our company believes in that. and we will continue to do that. But it's still a challenge. Anyway, I'm excited about. If anyone wants to ask me any questions, because I brought actually a lot more, but just about the media, about how to access the media. I was asking some of you last night, what do you actually want to hear from this? And Roseanne had sent a question, I have to say, and her question was, why do these interns who don't know anything about anything call someone like her and ask these naive questions, and they're so stupid? And I was like, oh, that has such a ring of that she probably meant that about one of our interns or something. I don't think she was talking in general. So I asked her, indeed, one of our most respected, trusted, loved, and admired sources, and we sent an intern out to call on her. So it happens. And you know why it happens? Our reporters are cranking out more news than they ever have. They are reporting. We have 2 daily news reports every day. They are online. That's stuff you never see in print. They're so busy. That's not, and then we have interns and we have freelancers and other such things. And they're blogging, so they're doing things that are different, and it's our job to keep the quality there. And it's a harder job, but Roseanne, we'll take better care of you in the future. So anyway, if you are interested in seeing our relaunch, which again, I have to say it's part of a whole strategy that starts with a digital-first newsroom, but the print edition, I'd be happy to send you either the digital version or the print version, just so you can see it. We're excited about it next week. And just give me your card or something like that. But thanks very much. I'm willing to answer any kind of questions, but probably out in the halls. And thank you for including me today.
Thanks, Mary. I'm not against interns, okay? Let's get that clear. But how many of you in the room have gotten a call and the person hasn't done any research? And in 2 minutes, you have got to do a download. Okay, I can barely remember my name some days. So it's best Google, Facebook, do Twitter, do whatever you need to do. Just find out before you call on anyone, because it just helps with the conversation. Couple of things. One, I want to thank my seminar co-chair here, Carol Groom, because without her, she keeps me sane. And what I'd like to do is all the members, we don't do this, the 2 of us. First of all, I'd like Amy, Barb, Carolina, and Holly to stand up, because without the chamber and their... Amy has done a fabulous job as the CEO. That's why the chamber executives are all here today. She works with them, she reaches out to them, and frankly, our chambers are the backbones of our community. So thank you all for being here. So the other folks that we couldn't do this without is our Progress Seminar Committee. For all the folks that sat on the Progress Seminar Committee this year, could you please stand up? Stand up. Some of you didn't stand up, so we'll be talking later, but we'll post their names. The other thing is how we honored the folks that are first-time Progress Seminar attendees this morning, and there's a lot of you. So I want to do something. All of the first-time attendees, stand up. First-time attendees, stand up. Okay, now, with all the first-time attendees sitting down, all those who have been coming to the Progress Seminar more than 10 years, stand up. I think that says something to the beauty of this program. It's about churn. It's about making sure that we have the institutional knowledge of folks that have been here before with the new folks coming in, that we can all work together as a community.
For more videos from the Progress Seminar, go to www.pentv.tv/videos/specials/Progress Seminar.
I'm with San Mateo County Board of Supervisors President Dave Pine. And Dave, you delivered a very spirited, uplifting, and optimistic speech to the assembled attendees of the Progress Seminar this year. It must have felt good.
Yeah, thanks for the compliment. I enjoyed doing it. It's one of the distinct responsibilities of the board president to provide the State of the County speech.
No, but it was very uplifting because there's so many good things going on. So maybe just touch on a few of those again from your perspective.
Well, San Mateo County is just incredibly fortunate in many, many ways. Now that the recession is behind us, our revenue picture is just tremendously strong. So it's opening up opportunities to do some really important investments and innovative policy making. So I'm really proud of the way we're paying down pension debt, investing in kids, looking at preschool for the underserved in the county. So a lot of positive things happening.
And I don't want to be pessimistic, but the other thing that struck me is when you look at the topic areas of the seminars, we're talking about very mega issues here, not only for us as we as residents, but the county, the state, things like early childhood education, transportation, water usage, communication, housing. How do you deal with the magnitude of some of those issues? Just step by step, I assume?
These type of issues ideally would be dealt with at a regional level or a state level. But in San Mateo County, we want to get started right away. So we do what we can, try to lead by example. But many of these issues affect the whole Bay Area. And for the Bay Area to compete internationally, we need to get our hands around things like housing and transportation and sea level rise. So I hope to see a day where there's more regional collaboration. But for now, we'll do what we can in San Mateo County.
And I find it really interesting because we've learned a lot about this from your conference, about this issue of sea level rise. I think it was a completely obscure and unknown thing, and you've done a great job of bringing it to the forefront because it's serious business, is it not?
It is. We are the most vulnerable county in the state of California. Wow. Fortunately, Congresswoman Spear, Assemblymember Gordon, and myself are committed to working on this issue over the long term. And we do have some time. It's a slow-moving emergency, but it is slow-moving, and we can deal with it.
Nice legacy to leave. Just one last question. It seems to us that the collaboration between your board and the elected officials at the state level is very cohesive and very powerful. Just explain to our viewers a little bit about how that dynamic works, how a county board of supervisors works with their elected assembly and Senate partners in California.
Well, in general, the San Mateo County is a very collaborative environment. We have 20 cities, and then we have the county. The county doesn't, for the most part, doesn't have any direct jurisdiction over the cities, but we all work together, and that kind of spirit extends to our delegation in Sacramento. And those individuals have deep experience serving on boards of supervisors, on city councils. So they've been in our shoes, they know our issues. So when we go to talk to them, we're on the same page. And we're fortunate to have just a superb delegation in Sacramento.
Board of Supervisors President Dave Pine, thanks for your time.
For more videos from the Progress Seminar, go to www.pentv.tv/videos/specials/Progress Seminar.